Hello dear students, today we are going to do part 14 of chapter number 9 ray optics of class 12th physics. In the last video lecture we have studied about the combination of lenses and mirrors, and before that we have studied about combination of two lenses. Today we are going to study a topic which is, you can say, is not related to lenses, but it is related to the refraction of light through plane surfaces. Today's topic is refraction through a prism. Refraction through a prism. Refraction through a prism. Now first of all, the thing is, what is a prism? So prism is basically a homogeneous medium which is bounded by two plane refracting surfaces, and these plane refracting surfaces are inclined at some angle which is called angle of prism. This is the cross section view of prism. If you see the prism in three-dimensional diagram, the prism looks alike something like this. Something like this. Okay? Three rectangular faces are there. One is at the bottom, one is this side, one is another side, and two triangular faces are there. One is this one, another is at the back. So when we look at it from the front, we see only this triangle which is made over here. So this angle between the plane refracting surfaces, this capital A, this is called angle of prism or prism angle. In some books it is referred as refracting angle of prism, denoted by capital A. So this is how the prism, I have told you, it has 5 faces, 3 rectangular and 2 triangular. So now let us try to understand that how the refraction takes place through a prism. Suppose it is a prism and a ray of light strikes the first surface in this way. Now what happens if we draw a normal, and if we believe that outside medium is air, so obviously that medium of the prism is denser one. So ray of light will bend towards the denser medium, and then after again we have to draw a normal because refraction will take place here at this surface also. Now the ray of light is going from denser medium to rarer medium, so it will bend away from the normal and it will go like this. This angle which is made between the incident ray and the normal at the first phase is called angle of incidence. This angle which is made between the emergent ray and the normal is called angle of emergence, denoted by small e. The first surface angle of refraction is denoted as R1. The second surface angle of incidence is denoted as R2. Okay. So this is how, these are the angles, and this is how the refraction takes place. Now a very important angle is there. We need to understand that angle also, and that angle is angle of deviation. If we extend the incident ray and extend the emergent ray behind, what we'll get? We get an angle between incident direction and emergence direction. This angle is called angle of deviation. Angle of deviation is the angle made by the emergent ray with the incident ray. It is here, delta. Okay. Now we have to get the value of delta in terms of I, E and A. So let us try to get that. Let us name the things. Let this be P, let this be Q, or let this be capital M, let this be capital N, let this point be O, and let this point be P. We have 4 points. Now from the diagram it is very much visible that if this angle is I, this whole angle is going to be Y because of vertically opposite. This angle is R1, so this angle is given by This angle is given by I minus R1. In the same manner, this angle is R2, this angle is E, this whole angle is going to be E. So this angle is going to be what? E minus R2. And for this triangle, MO and this point, okay? From figure, what we can say? It is clearly visible that the delta is the exterior angle of this triangle. So delta is going to be sum of two interior angles. So one interior angle is I minus R1. Another one is E minus R2. So if I write I and E together, we'll have I plus E minus R1 plus R2. Let this be question number 1. Now we have to eliminate R1 and R2. We have to eliminate R1 and R2. Now let us eliminate that. Just see the quadrilateral. In quadrilateral MNOP, I hope you must be knowing that the sum of angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. Now two of this angle M and angle O, they are 90. I am talking about the quadrilateral. Okay. So basically they are 90 and 90. So out of 360, 180 is being subtracted. So 90 and 90, 180 is gone out of 360. We are left with 180. Two angles are left. One is A and one is N. So in quadrilateral, we can say A plus N must be equal to what? 180 degree. But for N, again in triangle M and O, we can say angle R1 plus angle R2 plus angle N is equal to 180 degree, because these are the angles of a triangle. So basically from angle, the value of N, from here we can write 180 degree minus R1 plus R2. So we can put the value of N over here. Then we have angle A plus 180 degree minus R1 plus R2 is equal to 180 degree. So 180 degree and 180 degree will be cancelled out. R1 plus R2 will be transferred to that side. We'll have A is equal to R1 plus R2. So from here what we can say? We can say that the angle of prism is equal to the sum of angle of refraction at the first phase and angle of incidence at the second phase. It will follow in all the cases. Angle of prism is equal to angle of refraction at the first phase and angle of incidence at the second phase. Okay. Now if you put the value of A over here, R1 plus R2 over there, from 1 what we'll have? From 1 we'll have the relation I delta is equal to I plus E minus A. So this is the value of angle of deviation for a prism. I hope there is no doubt. It is very easy. You can understand it very easily. So this is the angle of deviation for a prism. From here it can be clearly seen that the angle of deviation depends upon angle of incidence, corresponding angle of emergence and angle of prism. For a prism, angle of prism is going to be fixed. So if we want to understand the dependence of angle of deviation on angle of incidence and angle of emergence, we have to plot a graph between angle of deviation and the angle of incidence. Okay? Angle of emergence is something which is directly related to the angle of incidence itself. For a particular angle of incidence, there will be a particular angle of emergence. Angle of emergence we cannot control. We can control only angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is desirable. Whatever angle we want to give as angle of incidence, that will be the angle of incidence only. But angle of emergence is something which depends on the material of the prism and the refractive index of the medium in which the prism was kept. So angle of emergence we cannot control. Angle of incidence we can control by changing the direction of incident light. So for better understanding, to understand the variation of delta, to understand the variation of dependence of delta on angle of incidence, we plot a graph which is the graph between angle of deviation and angle of incidence. Okay, so let us try to understand the graph. Take this screenshot. It is the relation for delta. Now let us draw a graph for angle of incidence, for variation of angle of dependence on angle of incidence. So if I plot a graph, on x-axis if angle of incidence is taken, on y-axis if angle of deviation is taken. So if we start from the angle 30 degree, angle of incidence, so the graph is something like this. Graph comes out to be something like this. So for a particular value of angle of incidence, angle of deviation is minimum. Delta m. Delta m is the minimum angle of deviation. This happens for a particular angle of incidence. But there are some more things which can be obtained from a graph. Just see, if we leave this value of angle of incidence, take any other value, like this one. Say this angle is I1. So for I1, whatever be the deviation, say this is the deviation for angle I1, but the same deviation is shown by other angle of incidence also. Just see, if for it this value of deviation will have two angle of incidences, isn't it? I hope I am clear. For this value of angle of deviation, again we have two values of angle of incidence. So for each angle of deviation will have two values of angle of incidence except only one, and that one is minimum angle of deviation. Why is it so? How it is happening? Let us try to understand. Say this is your angle of deviation, angle of incidence, this is your angle. For a prism, for a prism, if we talk about what happens, say this is your prism. Now just try to understand, if this is your angle of deviation, suppose ray of light goes like this, then again ray of light goes like this. Suppose if I put a mirror over here, plane mirror, then what will happen? This is the case of normal incidence. And normal incidence, what happens? The ray of light retraces its path. It goes like this, it goes like this. So for this ray which is going from this side, this is your angle of incidence and this is your angle of emergence. But the ray which is reflected back from the mirror, the angle of emergence will behave as an angle of incidence, and the angle of incidence will behave as an angle of emergence, because ray of light is going through like this. So for a particular pair of angle of incidence and angle of emergence, they are interchangeable for the same angle of deviation. Okay, like suppose if I is equal to 30 degree, corresponding to I, the angle of emergence comes out to be, suppose, 48 degree. So if I will be 48 degree, then angle of emergence will be 30 degree. This is how it works. For a particular angle of deviation, there are two angle of incidences, and these two angle of incidence are interchangeable with the angle of emergence. For a pair of angle of incidence and angle of emergence, they are interchangeable. For I is equal to 30 degree, E is 48. So then for I is equal to 48, E will be 30 degree. Okay? But on the minimum angle of deviation, this does not happen, because at that point of time, since they are interchangeable, so at delta is equal to delta M, I is equal to E. For delta is equal to delta M, for each delta there will be 2I. So what, and I is interchangeable with E for the second value of angle of incidence. So when the angle of deviation is minimum, so it will be happening, it should be happening only once. But always there are two possibilities. So it is happening only in one case when I is equal to E. Now I and E are interchangeable, then also the effect is not there. So suppose I is equal to 42 degrees, so E is equal to 42 degree. So whatever, if it is also 42, if it is also 42, so there is no matter which angle is angle of incidence and which angle is angle of refraction, angle of emergence, because ray of light is going like that only. Is it clear? So this is how we conclude that at delta is equal to delta m, which is minimum, we say I is equal to E. Okay, so this is one first conclusion for angle of deviation. Okay, I hope I am clear. So when angle of deviation is minimum, I is equal to E, that we have discussed. Now let us come to one more conclusion. Now if this was the prism, and a ray of light is coming like this, goes like this, then again goes like this, or let me reconstruct it. Like this. Say this is your angle of incidence, this is your angle of emergence. I am talking about the condition in which the angle of deviation is equal to minimum. So in that we have studied that I is equal to E. Now suppose refractive index of the medium outside is mu1, it is mu2, and it is again mu1. So I and R1, this angle we have considered as R1. For I and R1 we can write sin I upon sin R1 is equal to mu2 upon mu1. And here we have considered as R2. So R2 will behave as an angle of incidence. So we can write sin R2 upon sin E is equal to, now this is the first medium, this is the second medium, so mu1 upon mu2. So if you multiply these two equations and just remember that delta is equal to delta m, and because of that I is equal to E, if you multiply both of them, then sin I upon sin R1 multiplied by sin R2 upon sin E, in the right hand side it will become 1, mu2 upon mu1, mu1 upon 2 multiplied by 1. Sin E and sin I also will cancel each other because I and E are equal. So we'll have sin R1 is transferred that side. We'll have sin R2 is equal to sin R1, or we can say R2 is equal to R1 also. So this is the second conclusion. When angle of deviation is minimum, angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence, and R1 is equal to R2. If we suppose it as R, so you must have remembered that R1 plus R2 is equal to capital A. R1 plus R2 was equal to capital A. Both are equal to R, so it will be 2R is equal to A. So R will be equal to A by 2. So from another we can write R is equal to A by 2. So these are the important conclusions. When angle of deviation is minimum, we can write angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence. We can write both the angles R1 R2 will be equal, and it will be equal to A by 2. So these are the important conclusions, and let us put these conclusions in the equation in which we have got the value of delta. So delta was equal to I plus E minus A. So in place of IE we can put I. So it will be I plus I minus A can be written as R by 2. So here it can be, A can be written as A, let it be like that only. So I plus I 2I. A is transferred this side. So 2I is equal to delta plus A. So I is equal to delta plus A by 2. But it is happening when delta is equal to delta minimum. So if it delta is equal to delta minimum, I should write delta m, delta m, delta m. So value of I is equal to delta m and value of r is equal to what? A by 2. So if I apply Snell's law on this one, for the first phase refraction, I'll have sin I by sin r is equal to refractive index of second with respect to first. In place of I, we can write a plus delta m by 2. In place of r, we can write a by 2, and both is equal to what? Mu to 1. This is the value of angle of mu to 1, and here it was written sin a by 2. So this relation relates angle of minimum deviation, angle of a prism, and refractive index of the medium. If the outer medium of the prism is air, so mu 1 is equal to 1. In that case, we can write sin a plus delta m by 2 upon sin a by 2 is equal to mu of refractive index mu. That is refractive index of the glass of the prism or material of the prism. Okay, so this value will be verified for all the prism and for all the angle of incidences. But there is a special case that if the prism is very thin, then what to do? So there is a different case. First of all, this derivation was very important. It is very important in regards with the board examination. Okay, so you must note it down. Take this screenshot. Now, let us move and try to understand if the prism is very thin, then what we are supposed to do. For thin prism, for thin prism, all angles say I, R, E, A, supposed to be very small, are very small. Okay, for thin prism we take all the angles very small. So for first surface sin I upon sin R1 is equal to refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. From here the value of, since angles are very small, so sin I can be written as I, sin R can be written as R, and it can be written as mu. If mu1 is equal to 1, so we can write mu only. Okay, so this is the value of I upon R. Say I upon R1. From here, if we calculate the value of I, it comes out to be mu R1, equation number 1. This is the value for thin prism. Right? Okay. Second case, for the second surface, if we take second surface. So for second surface, angle of incidence was R2 and angle of refraction was E, and that is equal to mu 1 2. Since mu 1 is equal to 1, we have taken it as air, so it can be written as, and angles are very small also, so it can be written as R2 upon E is equal to 1 upon mu. Now R2 will be equal to E by mu, or value of E we can calculate, so it will be mu R2, or here only we can calculate. Value of E comes out to be mu R2, equation number 2. Now for all the prism, one relation is valid, and that relation is delta is equal to I plus E minus A. So if we put the values of I and E over here, what we are going to have? Just see, delta is equal to value of I mu r1, value of E mu r2 minus A. So delta is equal to, if we take mu common, we'll have r1 plus r2 minus A. Now r1 plus r2 was equal to what? A. It was already there. So we can write delta is equal to mu A minus A. So if I take mu common, A common, in bracket we are going to have mu minus 1. So this is the angle of deviation produced by a thin prism. Okay. For a thin prism, this is the angle of deviation given by the, this is the angle of deviation we define. So I hope the topic prism is clear. Now before concluding this video, a very basic nature of prism is there, and that is dispersion shown by a prism. So first of all, take the screenshot of this topic. And now let us move to understand dispersion of the light through the prism. Dispersion of light. What is dispersion of light? If on a prism a white light falls, then it splits up into 7 different colors. 7, and these 7 colors are given by V, I, B, G, Y, O, R. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So this is called dispersion of prism. If a white light falls on a prism, it splits up into 7 different colors, and this is called dispersion by a prism. Why this dispersion occurs? Because for different colors of light, for different wavelength of light, the angle of refraction becomes different, and that's why for the same angle of incidence is same for all the colors, angle of refraction is different. This is the reason. For violet one, the angle of refraction is least. For red color, angle of refraction is the greatest. Okay. So it happens because of the different wavelength of light. For refractive index varies at the wavelength varies. And how it varies, you must have understood before only. Mu is inversely proportional to lambda. If the lambda is greater, then refractive index will be smaller for that color. So this is the basic nature of prism. You must be knowing that. This is the first thing we used to study about prism in class 10th. Okay. Rest of the topics, some topics are there which are reduced this year, so need not to study those topics. In the next video lecture, we'll start with optical instruments. This is all for the day. Thank you.